One day I'll get this right. One day I'll get this right. Oh boy, this day has been fun. The whole day has been. Oh, this weekend's been a really rough one as well. But what's up, guys? How y'all doing? Welcome to my chat. I guess I had the mic muted for a minute there while I was going through my intro and forgot to unmute it. One day I will figure this all out. But thank you guys all for popping in. I really do appreciate it. Thank you to all the people that were early here in the chat. I had V Stag in here, Daryl Dimmer, of course. He's like always in here first. Looks like the Turtle Girl is not going to make it today. Same with Sergeant Tanks. He's got stuff going on. I completely understand. It is Mother's Day, but yeah, make sure that you respect, get the respect deserved to all the mothers out there, including all the fish moms and the cat and dog moms. My girlfriend made sure today to let me know that she is a mother to her dog. Hint, hint, as she walked out the door. But oh, Turtle Girl is here for just a second. Thanks for hanging out. I appreciate you coming in here. Happy birthday to you as well. You are in the news today. Unfortunately, I had a little bit of a mishap yesterday. I wanted to surprise you guys and do the news on location in a really cool spot. I don't want to give it all away. I'm gonna try to do it again next weekend. So I get out to the spot, and for one thing after the other, started with the sunlight in the wrong direction. Wasn't really planning on going out so late. Then it started to get really windy, almost knocked over my camera. Then it started to rain. So I kind of had almost a little bit of a mental breakdown yesterday, working really hard to try to make something cool. And so I ran home and tried to film the news again, normally as I would do it in my here in my living room. And then it turned out that after everything, I sat down at my PC, and it looks like I did not have my mic cord pushed all the way in. I had it plugged in, but I didn't have it all the way pushed in to the outlet there, and so I didn't have any audio. And at that point, I was completely mentally fried from the whole day. Uh, so I just turned off. Honestly, I couldn't. I was over it. There was no chance at that point in me re-recording everything, starting from scratch. So it was a bummer. It's not how I planned it, but that stuff happens. The key, I think, with failure or mistakes is to learn from them. To learn from them, most definitely. It's awesome to see everybody here in the chat. Thanks for popping in, Turtle Girl. I know that you didn't really have that you had stuff going on. I know everybody's got probably has stuff going on, being Mother's Day. But let me go ahead. Well, we're right here now. I don't even know how many people are in chat. I'm not gonna worry about that, but I do appreciate that those of you that are here. HC Aqua, what's up? Good to see you. Let me go ahead and go through the news. I'm gonna go through the news that I tried to film yesterday, like 3 times altogether. We start out with Jimmy, aka Swisky Vision. It looks like he's been having some odd things happen to him lately, like really crazy, weird stuff, like teleportation, and he just randomly disappears. And then I guess the last thing, he switched bodies with Corvus Oskin with Joel, and I just hope that Joel gets his body back and that Jimmy returns to normal eventually. Hope all that works out. Dank Tanks did a really awesome tutorial this week in regards to putting together a dubia feeder roach colony. He goes over all the parts and materials that you would need to create a colony to feed your dart frogs, and then he goes through it step by step, the whole process to put the thing together. Which that was really nice for those of you that do have reptiles and feed bugs, need feeder bugs. And Dank Tanks, your box is right here. Don't worry, I have your box ready to go. I have a couple other things I'm trying to squeeze in there. I love how it says flat rate, one rate, any weight. So don't worry about that. I'm gonna test the limits on that. I got some things I need to try to stuff in there. I need to vacuum seal that T-shirt so I have more room. Ashley, what's up? Welcome to the chat. Bob Hicks, it's so nice to see you in here as well. Soggy Pits, good day, good morning. Breakfast burrito, nice. I tend to make those. I make those for work. I'll make like 2 or 3, wrap them in aluminum foil, and I take them to work with me. Anyways, Daryl Dimmer, yes, I see you again in there. Let's see. So the other one, let's see. We keep going here with the news. We have Bob. Everybody knows Bob. I like to call him Oranda Power. I think he should just change the name of his channel to Oranda Power. But he is super super stoked this week. Really excited. He's had a couple problems in regards to getting his new 44-gallon aquarium that he's been looking forward to, and he finally got it this week. You could tell by the look on his face he was completely ecstatic, and I definitely look forward to seeing what he does with that aquarium. Let's see. There are a couple of species spotlights this week on Plecos. The first one was with Jeffro's Fish Keeping. He shared with us his L183 Pleco, a starlight Pleco. He got like I think it was like 5 of them he received from the wet spot. He did a full unboxing of them, and he showed and explained how he set up the tank for these Plecos. That was really cool. The other one was Bob Steamfot. Bob Steamfot did a spotlight on his L184, which is a brilliant Pleco. And in the video it was pretty interesting because he kind of he realized he made the mistake, and in post he corrected it. He was calling it a Starlight Pleco, but he corrected it. It is a brilliant Pleco, a 184 L184. Um, so I thought it was really nice of him to correct his mistakes and to fix that. That was really good. But that's why I put both of these species spotlights together because he was calling it a Starlight Pleco, and that's what Jeffro got in. So you watch both of those videos, you can actually get to visually see the difference in both of those Plecos. So check those out. Um, D from Down the Wormhole, she does her live stream at 1 o'clock. I believe it's 12 or 1. She does her live stream right before me, so I got to pop in there and see her for a little bit and see what she's got going on. She went ahead and did a feeding with her the piranha, right? The piranhas. Um, but the really cool video that she put out this week was in regards to Amica splendens, which is it's a rare live bear, and they're actually on the CARES red list. And she managed to really get some cool shots of a pregnant female, pregnant female, oxymoron there. She managed to get some really nice shots of an Amica splendens giving birth, which was really cool. Never seen that before. And it's interesting because they actually kind of have like a little bit of an umbilical cord that hangs off of the fry when they come out. That was so different from any other live bear that I've ever seen. So you can check that out as well. Let's see. We have Steve Poland's Aquatics, which actually is not it's a big channel, but it's kind of new for me, honestly. He did a tour of a 2,000-gallon living stream aquarium, which this is really awesome. It was in a nature center in his town. This thing is a 53-foot long living stream aquarium. It's really designed for young people to be able to see. It's got glass along the sides, and there's even some portholes from underneath, so that you can, like, if you're small enough to get up underneath in these spots that they've created, you can pop up in there and stick your head up through a little bubble and see everything in the stream from underneath. I really thought that was cool, and I have to say, mark my words, someday I will create something like this. And if I do, it's one of them things you can't create it for yourself and keep it to yourself. I kind of have the dreams of creating some kind of a nature center like that, or a facility for conservation and wildlife, nature, education. And something like that is definitely going to happen. I'll do whatever I can to make something like that happen in the future. Um, let's see what else we have. We have Dexter's World. Dexter's World, if you guys don't know, he's out of the Philippines, and he's a really big channel out of the Philippines. He doesn't just work with fish, but mostly there's a lot of fish. But he did do a tour this week on an aquatic nursery, aquatic plant nursery. It was incredible. I've never seen a collection, an assortment, a variety of aquatic plants like this, and it's just pretty unfortunate that they only sell and ship within the Philippines, so you'd have to go there to get any of these plants. But it was an incredible variety, and they're definitely lucky to have that over there. So you gotta check that one out for sure. Let's see, Fish Keeping Jamaica. This gentleman, Raleigh, really cool guy. I've met him, found his channel right off the beginning. Right at the beginning. He's still pretty young on YouTube, but he is a teacher, so he's very well spoken, and he's very educated and knowledgeable, and he presents things as a teacher would. He did a really awesome tutorial video this week on the functionality of a fish's gills. He goes through all of the anatomy of the gills of a fish, and he explains the function of each part, which is really, really informative. I have to say, I thought I knew stuff, but about that, but he definitely gets into detail, and I definitely learned something from that video. So check that out. Let's see. We have Heather from Varuna Aquatics. She made a cute little piece, a very relaxing little video, just showcasing her panda Corydoras, which are really really nice. I'm working on a blackwater aquarium, and that's one of the fishes that I would really like to have as more of a bottom feeding fish. And I really did enjoy the substrate. She went with like a sand, but you can tell that these Corydoras really uh, really enjoyed the substrate. Let's see, what else do we have? Turtle Girl. Turtle Girl's birthday was yesterday, and I'm hoping she's having an awesome weekend. She's still here in the chat. I see her. Happy birthday, Turtle Girl. Yeah, I hope you're having a good weekend. I hope you had a good birthday yesterday, and hopefully you got something cool, maybe a fish or a fish tank to feed the addiction, or maybe a turtle. I have some friends here. I have a one friend in particular that has some tortoises on his property, and right next door there's also a colony, a small little group of turtles that somebody has. They're not indigenous to this area, but through the pet trade, there has been a few, like I think they're called red sliders, have been released out into the wild here. So from here and there, you can find them in the guts, but they are definitely not indigenous to the island. So I'm gonna definitely get into that. I definitely look forward to playing with some turtles and showing you guys the ones that I know of here on the island. Let's see. That was pretty much it. And in personal news, you notice I've been doing a lot of wild fish collecting adventures. I've been getting out into the bush, and that is truly my passion. Growing up in the pet trade in Mexico as a child in Central America with my family, importing exotic animals such as iguanas and exotic birds. It's definitely in my blood to not just keep them in aquariums, but to get out there into the wild and see them in their natural habitats, collect them if there's a good reason to, or if I have a place for them. But more than anything, I like to observe them in their natural habitats before the nets go in the water and that kind of thing. Uh, it's definitely a true passion of mine, and it's a dream for me to for it to be funded. I think that's part of one of my dreams behind my YouTube channel. I do this because I love it, but it definitely be a dreamy idea to make this all financially sustainable and be able to travel around the world, travel to exotic locations where these fish are found in the wild, and be able to observe them. And of course, I'm starting here at home in the tropics, which I'm lucky to live in. And of course, you all know next is July. I'll be in Peru with Corey McElroy. Unfortunately, Bob Steamfot will not be able to make it as far as I know. But Dwayne Kitchell, it looks like we will be roomies for the first night in Lima, Peru, and that will be fun. He wanted to stay up all night and just hang out, walk the streets, and we've all kind of talked him out of that just for safety reasons. So we'll be bunking up in Lima, Peru, and meeting up with Corey, which flies in the next day, and we'll be going and touring the village and some local restaurants and bakery and stuff like that in Lima before we make our way out that afternoon to Puerto Maldonado, which is where we will be staying, and that will be our base camp for collecting. And this will be the first of many trips to South America for me. Mark my words. Not messing around about that. I look forward to working with Go Wild Peru more in the future, and other expedition groups there as well. And so definitely look forward to that. That's what my channel is all about. I love doing the hashtag FishFamNews. It has connected me with a lot of awesome people here in the community, and it has definitely changed the way I look at YouTube and the platform. It's much deeper than just a platform, in a social network or whatnot. There's so much deeper stuff going on. I think we all know that. I think we all feel it every day when we communicate and work with each other. We know that we got something really good going on here. So I definitely enjoy doing the hashtag FishFamNews. But besides that, I just plan on getting out in the wild and trying not to get attacked by any animals, bit by any spiders. And it's funny because Dwayne was going over all of the dangers that we could possibly come across while in Peru, And from my experience living in the tropics, I'm not so worried about spiders or reptiles or jaguars. I am truthfully more worried about plants. From my experience in Mexico and my experience here in the U.S. Virgin Islands and in the Caribbean, there's a lot more poisonous and dangerous plants than anything else. And all it takes is brushing up against it, and you've got a horrific rash and blisters, and you need antibiotics, and it gets into your bloodstream. You get secondary infections, and you can end up with MRSA or staph, and you're in the hospital. And MRSA and staph, if you're not healthy, can kill you. So, they honestly, plants are probably the real risk. The real risk. Something, long sleeve. I mean, long pants and long sleeve shirts is what it's all about. And just, you don't reach out and grab onto trees and vines and plants and bushes and stuff to steady yourself. That's not. I've learned the hard way on that one here. You have things like Christmas bush, stinging nettle, lots of different little vines and plants that will leave some really crazy blisters. You have acid tree that literally when it rains, if you were to stand under the tree and drops of water from off the leaves hit you, you will get blisters and rashes from that. And besides that, just keeping your feet dry. That's my plan in Peru. When you're in the water every day, you want to make sure that you get your boots off as soon as you can, and get some powder on your feet, and let your feet air out before you end up back in the water the next day or 3 or 4 hours later, so that it doesn't. Michael Barber said don't have to worry about that, but from my experience, keeping your feet dry can save you from a lot of pain and agony as well. Let's see, HC Aqua. Good to see you. I'm repeating some of the same names, I'm sure. Uh, Fish and Shrimp by Rich. What's up? Good to see you in here. I have to say, I'm really sorry about the hashtag FishFam News. I really like doing it filmed and edited. It comes out a lot better. It's short and sweet. Daryl Dimmer, thank you so much. Thank you. Yeah, off spray. I don't like off, to be quite honest. I use more essential oils and things like that because I don't agree with off and I don't want it in my bloodstream. It will literally take the paint off of cars. A lot of people, tourists down here use it, but I haven't used off in over 10 years, and I choose not to use chemicals like that on my skin and then let them absorb to my bloodstream. Um, but I do use essential oils, and believe it or not, Skin So Soft, which is made by Avion, I mean Avon, Avion, Avon, Skin So Soft. Believe it or not, originally it was developed and created. The recipe was created by the United States military in Vietnam, and it was a bug repellent used by the soldiers in Vietnam. Then Avon bought the recipe because it smelled so nice, and they took it and used it, and now you have Skin So Soft. I have bottles and bottles, large bottles. I actually sell it to people here. My girlfriend has whatever. Her aunt is with Avion, so we get it by the case down here, and then I sell it to some friends that agree with that. So yeah, I use Skin So Soft, and it worked in Vietnam, and it works for me, and it's not any nasty chemicals you have to worry about absorbing into your bloodstream. Let's see. Thank you again, Daryl. I really appreciate that, and I appreciate the fact that you're like always the first person in the chat. It's awesome. Your support is very much appreciated. And in regards to that, it reminds me it's one thing that I did wanted to kind of point out, and I kind of wanted to catch up with because I really haven't um, taken the time to share it with people as much as I should have. But I think you all know that I do have my Patreon account, and that really is the only funding for my channel. And I kind of just wanted to go over my Patreons. I have a couple of new Patreons this week. Pax and Mad Fish Diva. They are two of my new Patreons. As far as I know, oh, I'm sorry. Let me see. Yeah, Mad Fish Diva. She she's my newest Patreon. But I kind of want to go through them real quick. I think we all know all these people, which is really awesome. I really do appreciate the support from some pretty big channels as well. But I'm just gonna go right through my Patreons. I only have 23 of them right now, but I love all of the support. I have Pax. I have Mad Fish Diva. I have Robbie Taylor. We have LR Brett's Aquatics. Melissa Byers. Cecilia of Cecilia's Hobbies. I have Morgan Newby, of course, Mr. B. We have Tim Lewis, Keith Boardley. Let's see, Science Gal Aquatics. Let's see, Q Aquatics, Daryl Dimmer, Jessica Short. I have Joel Christensen, Corvus Oskin. I have Susan from SLC Aquatics, Captain Savage Aquatics, Priscilla MK, John Corey, Aquarium Co-op, James Hirsch, James Dye, uh, Bill Stewart, and HC Aqua. Thank you guys so much for your support on Patreon. It means the world to me. And I definitely look forward to creating some specific content just for my Patreons. Uh, it's definitely a mad hustle to create as many pieces of content a week as I kind of need to be doing. And I feel like I'm completely slacking, but it's a balance. And, as I find the balance, it gets better. That is for sure. And remembering to unmute my mic would help sometimes as well. Uh, so thank you guys, all of you that are my Patreons. It's awesome. And thank you all for hanging out in this chat today. This is my Sunday fun day. It's raining pretty hard today, so I'm not taking my cannon out. Don't look on destroying that. Came pretty close. If any of y'all saw my last video that I did, I came pretty close to to losing it. I'm gonna go ahead and for the fun of it, I'm gonna go ahead and show that real quick. And go ahead and play that real quick for you guys while I'm stashed in the corner here. But yeah, this is just kind of like, I think this is actually like my fifth real like wild collecting or wild adventures that I've been doing. Out of 85 videos that I've created on YouTube, this is like the fifth one like this, and it's kind of crazy because this is what I really want to be doing. But I've been focusing on the hashtag FishFamNews and making sure that if nothing else, that comes out every week. But like I was saying before, this is the direction of my channel, and I hope you guys enjoy that. And if there's anything you guys are interested in me doing in regards to getting out into the wild, I really don't like just sitting here in the house and showing you my fish tanks. We all have fish tanks. Everybody else is doing that. And I'd be completely honest, I'm an artist at heart. Come from a family of professional artists, and I I don't want to do what everybody else does. I'm not about just doing what everybody else does. I'm an artist. I want to be unique. I want to do something different, and and do what I love, follow my passions and my heart, and that's what's happening here with my channel. Slowly, it's evolving, uh, and it definitely stemmed from the it also stemmed from the attention that I received from the first video like 9 months ago, 8 or 9 months ago. I did a wild collecting video for the guppies, the wild guppy adventure, I think it was called. And I'm up to 133,000 views on this video, and I received about almost 2,000 subscribers from that video alone. So that tells me that the majority of my subscriber count wants to see more of that content, and I cannot ignore that, and I can't ignore my passions for this, for just getting out into the bush and into the wild, and risk getting brushed by exotic poisonous plants and bit by bugs. When it comes to bugs, I've noticed that my problem out in the bush here, we have a lot of tree termites. There's a lot of dead debris right now because of the hurricanes you can see in these videos, but normally there's not, because the termites here uh, they pretty much just they devour it as soon as a piece of wood hits the ground, it's gone. Uh, but they do bite. They do bite. So as you're brushing up against trees or going through the woods, sometimes they will fall from the trees, or you'll hit a little trail of their nest and break it, and they come out. And I've definitely gotten bit by a few of those while I've been out, and it's just like an ant bite, but yeah, that's no fun. And there's definitely, as you can see in this video, there's a lot of biomatter. There's a lot of plant debris that has filled the guts from the storm, and it's just a matter of time for all this to break down. But it is breaking down, and as Fish Tropic had brought up to me, which I'm planning on doing, he mentioned me collecting some of this biomatter, even the stuff you see floating on the surface or on these rocks, and looking at under the microscope, because it's all the microorganisms in nature that are breaking this down. It's a matter of time, but they're doing their job. I had a friend of mine who lives along a gut similar to this, and he said he wants to put. He told me he was gonna put some. Oh, thank you. I see Chicken Lips. Thank you so much for that super chat. I'm sorry I got this full screen open, but I have another iPad roll, and I see $5 super chat from you. Thank you so much. Let's see. I'm seeing support. Well, thank you. I appreciate all of your support. Really do. Especially all of you being here on Mother's Day, on Sunday on Mother's Day. Um, but yeah, I plan on taking some of this biomatter and rushing it home as quickly as I can before it starts to die, and I get under a microscope for you guys and create a little piece on that. That would be it'd be fun for me too because I want to know what's out there. I know that our fish tanks are cool and we have a certain amount of microorganisms of biology that are in them, but it's nothing like nature. I'm not gonna find the microorganisms that I'm gonna find in nature in my aquarium. It's just not gonna be there, and some of them I probably don't want there either. Uh, so I've been trying to use my GoPro more and more, and I actually have an underwater housing for. Let me see if I can grab this. Oh, it's stashed back behind my desk, and I'm not gonna climb through wires to get to it. But I did buy an underwater housing for my Canon, and I'm really disappointed with it. I don't know if I'm even going to take it with me to Peru and waste the space, but I do not recommend anybody getting any kind of anything from this company because it really doesn't. It's not functional at all. Let me see. Let's see. Let's see. Let me get out of this screen. Oh boy. Let's see here. I do have this guy. This is the underwater housing. It's made by, you can pronounce that however you want to pronounce that. Um, I'm gonna call it, I'm gonna say it, I'm gonna call it a Dika pack. You can pronounce it how you want to though. This is the underwater housing. It's honestly not very functional. The biggest problem is you cannot zoom. I cannot focus. I'm sorry, manually because it gives you this little hole in the side to stick your finger in there, and one over here on the other side. So that's what you got. But technically, you really can't even reach the fine focus, and the ring out here always gets in the way unless the front of your lens is smack dab up in the front of this thing because it's just really unpractical, and it was about a $75 underwater case. Now I would have bought a hard case, which is more like 500 or 600. I was trying to save some money. Plus, I've customized my camera with all this stuff. This is called Sugru. If someone look it up on the internet, Sugru is like it's a clay. It's a mix between clay and super glue, and you can actually form it, and within 12 to 24 hours it hardens up. So I've extended out a lot of my buttons just so that I can feel them and not even have to look and feel, and I know what I'm touching. And I've actually extended out my grip. I put it on my grip here, and I added another little piece of grip here so that I can hold the camera from here on one side and have a good grip. I also modified this grip over here with the Sugru. It's really cool stuff, and you can do it. You can use it for all kinds of things. But my point is now that I've modified the camera with the Sugru, um, of the traditional hard plastic underwater case wouldn't work anyways because that stuff would get in the way of the mechanics of it. Let's see. Let's take a look at the chat. I'm sorry, I'm not looking at the chat. I am not looking at the chat. Let's see. Fish Tropics, I'm glad you made it up in here. Chicken Lips, thank you for popping in. I appreciate it, and thank you for being one of my Patreons. It means a lot. And yeah, that's actually, that camera that I have is a Canon T2i. It was given to me, so I can't really complain about that. At least it's a Canon, and it does have, audio input. I have another Sony that someone has been letting me borrow since the very beginning, and I don't use it because I can't attach my Rode mic to it. It has no input. That's the problem with the Sony. What is this? Sony. A2000. Um, it's a nice camera, especially for action footage, but it doesn't help me much. Let's see. I'm sorry. I'm looking at the chat. Reading. Short tour of your fish room. I would love to do a short tour of my fish room. I can kind of do that. The only problem is I'm all set up here at my studio space here with this mic, and you're not going to hear me. I mean, I could show you stuff behind me, but you're not going to really hear it. I I definitely need to make a fish room tour video, and I think that's what I will do. That would be the best thing, so that I can really give you some close-up shots and narrate it properly. But right now, I have the 5 tanks behind me, 7 tanks here behind me in my living room, and then in my kitchen space, I've taken over part of my kitchen, and I have my fish lab, which has two 10-gallon grow out tubs, beer tubs, which are for grow out for my Endler breeding program. And I have a 10-gallon tank in the kitchen now with my blue bolts in it, my Caradina blue bolts, and then I have a little 5-gallon quarantine tank. And my thing with the quarantine tank is 5 gallons is the way I go, especially if I'm just medicating one fish at a time, because I use less medication. That's one good tip I have for people when it comes to your quarantine tank. If you don't have a big fish, you don't have to worry about them jumping out of that or getting hurt in a small 5-gallon aquarium. I recommend going with 5 gallons because you can cut your medication in half or in a fourth and really conserve on it, because we all know how expensive medications can be. Let's see here. I'm totally up for questions. I just kind of goofing around today. Honestly, was a little bit broken yesterday from not being able to do the news the way I wanted to. I definitely I messed up my knee as well, slipping on a rock, and just trying to get really creative. I took my wood desktop and carried it out into the bush with me, and across some guts, and over trees, and oh, I went so far. I hiked 2 miles out and 2 miles back, um, kind of for nothing. It really kind of put a toll on me emotionally, and then come home and try to and kick my girlfriend out of the house for another hour so that I could refilm the news at the desk, clean up, put the suit back on. I even carried the suit out into the woods with me too. So, and then, but to come back and do all that. Ashley, have a good day. Thanks for popping in. Appreciate it. Enjoy your Mother's Day. Enjoy your Sunday. But then to come back and then film the news again, and to realize that my mic cord was half plugged in and that I didn't get any of the audio. That kind of hurt my soul a little bit. And at that point, it was probably about 5:30, 6 o'clock in the afternoon. And I'll be honest, I kind of just gave up. And that even hurt me too, because I don't like to give up on things. And but there was a point when emotionally I was ready to pop some melatonin and eat dinner and go fall asleep and try to forget about it all. And plan on making it up for you guys today in a live stream. But I don't know if anything else cool has come up. You guys totally can let me know if there's any cool videos or anything super awesome that I might have missed this week that we should all know about. I'm totally up for you sharing that. I have no problem with that. Um, let's see. I do need to add a few people here as moderators just because they deserve it, and it's been a little, I focus on the chat, but I don't get to, I kind of skip on that sometimes. So, Ashley, HC Aqua, Mr. B, you guys are now moderators. So, you guys can help me hold it down in the chat. Not like I have any, I've been lucky I don't have too many people trolling me or harassing me, luckily. Luckily. Let's see. Yeah, I'm just preparing for Peru. That's the big thing right now. getting out there and doing these adventures is what I want to be doing anyways, but it's an opportunity for me to practice before I get to Peru as well. I want to be on point when I'm there. I don't want to be fiddling around with my camera any more than I need to and miss the good shots. And I feel a little bit of pressure as well being on this trip with other big YouTubers such as Corey McElroy. And I just want to I want to have my ducks in a row and be ready. When it comes to the environment, I grew up in the tropics in Mexico. I grew up in the pet trade. I grew up hiking through the jungle, searching for animals. So that part is not a problem for me. It's more the technical side of things and making sure I don't miss the good stuff on camera. So just practicing, filming out in the wild, setting up my camera out in the wild, and and all the things that come along with that. Like yesterday was a very trying day, but it was a good experience because Mother Nature was definitely not on my side yesterday. From the angle of the lighting, from the wind and the rain, these are things that I will have to deal with when I'm in Peru. And from uh, I'm sorry, Michael Barber. I was on the phone with him the other day. He's the owner of Go Wild Peru, and he did inform me about the weather. And I, thinking the tropics, we're all thinking it's going to be pretty warm there, right? We're going to be there this will be winter. July is the winter time in South America on that side of the equator. So it will be drier, and that's why the pools will be a little bit dried up and concentrated. So it'll be a little easier to collect fish because it'll be concentrated and the water levels will be lower, a lot lower. But in the end, the issue is that it will actually be cold, and there might be some days when we might not be able to go to the high elevations like we plan on. Some of us are looking forward to looking for some very rare tetra that live in cooler mountain streams at very, very high elevations, literally a short bus ride away from Machu Picchu. So we definitely look forward to going to these spots, and hopefully I can get like Dwayne and Corey to say yes to some of these more intense hikes. But if it snows, we'll be snowed out, literally snowed out, and not be able to go to these places because there'll be snow in the mountains. And I kind of didn't think about that, so now I'm kind of regrouping with my wardrobe and making sure that I have at least one set of warm clothes so that I will not freeze. Because I'll tell you what, some of these temperatures might not be so bad for you guys that live in North America, but I am a little spoiled by the warm weather here in the tropics, and it's always warm here. I'm using my air conditioning year round, 365 days a year, pretty much. I'm running my air conditioner. So I will probably be cold there, colder than I thought I was going to be there. So we'll see how that goes. Hopefully, I'm not going to embarrass myself shivering and chattering my teeth while everybody else is sweating. I know that when I go back to the States, everybody laughs at me because they're turning on the air conditioner, and I mean they're turning on the heater because and I'm free. I'm sorry, the other way around. They want to turn the air conditioner on, and I'm freezing, and I don't know where to go because I'm already inside, and they want to turn the AC on. Let's see, Priscilla, welcome to the chat. It's good to see you in there. I know you've been around, but it's good to see you in the chat. Let's see. I'm opening up my chat for a minute here and see everything. Let's see. Prolific Breed. See you later. Happy Mother's Day, man. I appreciate you popping in. I do appreciate that. Let's see. Rogers Aquariums. Hello. Who built Machu Picchu? It was the Incas that built the Machu Picchu. And the exact tribe, I'm not sure right now. Um, I'm trying to think of the actual tribe, but the actual group. There's a name for them in particular. But I feel like there's such a mystery. People seem like there's such a mystery as to why they disappeared, but I think it is really simple. It's just humans like to fight other humans, and I think it's pretty much how it ended. Is just a meltdown of a civilization, which has happened many, many times throughout history and all over the world. But that will be a very interesting part of it for me as well. I have some experience travel vlogging in my past, a big chunk of my filming experience is with travel vlogging. So that is another big part of my channel. I look forward to doing that kind of material as well. So like when we go to Peru, I'm gonna try to do what I can to create some videos just in regards to the culture and the history and some of the villages and trying some of the food and meeting the people. And not all of my content while I'm in Peru will be related to fish collecting or fish keeping or tropical fish, but it'll be a mix of things, that's for sure. Yes, Angel, I did get your message on Facebook just now. Thank you, I appreciate that. And yeah, I gotta send you. I got something for you. I gotta put it in the mail here soon. First and foremost, though, I need to get Dank Tank's stuff out. It's going. It's going. Soon come, as we say here in the Caribbean. Let's see, who else do we have in the chat hanging out with us today? It's nice to be in here with you guys, that's for sure. I do love this community. Um, it is a beautiful thing, and I enjoy you guys' support. It does mean the world to me. And I mentioned it last time, last weekend, but yeah, I don't like to make a big deal about it. But I've lived a really awesome life. I've done a lot of crazy things. A lot of that due to the way I was raised with my family, growing up in the pet trade and living in Central America. But besides that, living here in the Caribbean, I've done a lot of wild, crazy partying and drinking and all kinds of other stuff. And as of now, I am completely sober, and it's a big step for me in my life. And I have to be honest that there's a lot of support from different people here in the community on YouTube. Uh, there's been a lot of support from different people here in the community, and that support has definitely helped me through the hard times, like a day like yesterday when I was so emotionally just like burnt out that you might want to go, go hit the bar and go get drunk or go find some drugs or something to soothe it all away. But that's not how it works, and that's not how it works for me anymore. And if it wasn't for some of the support that I've received from different content creators here on YouTube, I don't know if I'd be doing this right now. But it has been a life-changing experience being here on YouTube, and this community has definitely helped support me through these major life changes and personal growth. Um, like I said before, just being here on YouTube, I'm making content, creating videos. I'm writing more than I've ever written before. Um, you know, since high school, I haven't written this much to sit down and write out the news once a week and to write out my script or my basic outlines of a piece of content that I'm going to create. Um, it's made a big difference. It really has. Secret history living in aquariums. What's up? Welcome to the chat. It's good to see you in here, Dwayne Kitchell. I was just chatting about. I don't know how long you've been in here, Dwayne, but I was just chatting up about Peru. It's definitely a big subject for me here today on the stream. Was just like you were talking about the other day, just getting prepared, and these wild adventures are definitely helping me prepare, especially technically, making sure that I got my camera stuff together and making sure that my audio is working well, especially when you're on the move and you're in the bush, and you got to kind of be on your toes with that stuff if you want to catch the good shot, so you're going to miss the good stuff. So kind of putting myself through a little bit of um, wild adventure boot camp of my own to make sure that I'm ready for everything and ready to catch the good stuff. Let's see. Let's see. Let's see. Check out the chat here. But yes, no, thank you guys all for your support. It does mean the world to me, and this is it's all a good thing, like getting out in the wild. At this point in time, that's my high. That's how I get higher these days. Is just you getting a leg burn, hiking the trails, and getting and crawling through the bush, and sitting down there next to a creek, and listening to the water, and studying the fish and seeing how they act without being bothered by me, and and working hard on a piece of content and then sitting back at it, and this feeling of satisfaction of finishing a piece of content as a piece of art. And it's what keeps me out of trouble. It's what keeps me stimulated, and I try to explain that to my significant other, my girlfriend at this point, that she might not like it sometimes, and I spend so much time doing this, but at this point, this is what keeps me it keeps me sober, and this is what keeps me going. And it's I come from a family of artists, and this is it's it's what helps me get my passion out. I feel like I'm one of those people that I can't just sit around and watch other people live their lives. I can't play on the. I don't have Facebook on my phone. I don't sit and play on my phone. I don't watch television. Um, I don't have time for that. I don't have time to watch other people's stuff, especially to watch television shows and watch other people's fake drama. I got enough of my own drama. I don't need to watch other people's stuff. So if I watch content, honestly, like some of you guys, I'm watching YouTube videos. I'm watching you guys, real people, live real lives and do real things, and that's my content that I consume. But yeah, Dwayne, I was talking about how the plants are definitely what to worry about when we get to Peru. It's gonna be about the it's gonna be about just making sure not to brush up against the wrong plants. Don't grab onto some tree for to steady yourself. Um, I'm sure there will be some snakes. We don't have snakes here, luckily, because they did introduce. I mean, hundreds of years ago, they introduced the mongoose to this island, and the mongoose definitely have devoured all the snakes. So we do have a tree boa, which has only survived because it is in the tree, and the mongoose can't get to it. Um, but we do have a gardener snake. I have found that, and we have like a blind snake, which is more like a worm, which lives underground. So they managed to survive uh, the mongoose as well. But besides that, I really don't think we're going to have much to worry about out there in the bush in Peru. Besides, I think the plants will be a bigger problem, and I definitely need to do my research as well and find out what they are. Yeah, talked to Michael Barber on the phone the other day, and he doesn't seem too worried about too many things at all like that. I think we might have to worry more about leeches while we're in the water, maybe. I don't know if they have any water snakes like a water moccasin, but from my experience when it comes to snakes, those are the ones I'm scared of. Are snakes that like to make water snakes that like to make their nests on the banks of these rivers, and they're very territorial about their nest. You get too close, and you're going to get bit just for getting too close to their nest on the edge of the water. So I kind of would be worried about water snakes. Water snakes in plants. I'm sure there's going to be some poisonous spiders and bugs, but most of those kind of things usually run from humans rather than attack humans. Yeah, very painful ants. Yeah, that's probably more of a bigger one too. Is as ants, sand fleas. We have sand fleas here though. I'm pretty used to sand fleas and mosquitoes. That's just life in the tropics. But ants can be pretty nasty. They can be pretty nasty, and some of those tropical ants are pretty aggressive in regards to protecting their nests as well. I've encountered ants in Mexico that can hear you when you speak. They can sense the vibrations when you're talking to each other, and they'll literally fall out of the tree on purpose and fall down and like attack you by air and fall out of the tree, land on you, and bite you that way. And some of those ants have a bite that is like a bullet, or like a hot coal being put out on your arm. It's very painful, and it doesn't go away very quickly. We do have a scorpion here that is not deadly poisonous, but it does give a sting. I've been stung 3 times by scorpions here in the Virgin Islands, and it's like a hot coal being put out on you. And it goes away. It starts to subside over half an hour, an hour, but it's a very throbbing. It definitely hits your nervous system and is very throbbing, and it definitely gets you a little bit of a head rush from it, a little lightheaded, kind of the equivalent of downing a beer, maybe. Just a slight little head rush from it, but it's not a fun experience. Oh, Priscilla, come on. I think you could hang. I think you could hang. I'm working on that backpack. I mean, that suitcase. So you have to. Let's see. Uh, right, yeah, bullet ants. I think that is the actual the name of of one ant that they have there in Peru. And if you've ever seen, there's a I believe it's called the Emerald Forest. The Emerald Forest. It's an old movie. I think came out in the late '70s, early '80s. It's called the Emerald Forest, and it's about this young man who was there with his father, who was building a dam, and I think it's somewhere in South America, and he's building a dam, and then he gets lost from his father, ends up in the jungle, and gets adopted by a tribe of Amazonian Indians. Um, and I think one in that movie, their rites of passage that the young men go through is being tied to a tree and having these bullet ants poured over them and having multiple stings of and that's their rites of passage. And I think it's actually, truthfully, was a rites of passage for some of these tribes, literally. Uh, but yeah, that's a crazy movie. If you've never seen that, there's there's two movies in regards to being out in the wild like that, and one of them reminds me of my childhood. But there's the Emerald Forest, and then there's the Mosquito Coast. Mosquito Coast is a really intense movie. It actually has River Phoenix in it and Harrison Ford when they were both very young. But the Mosquito Coast, I recommend that movie to anyone who is interested in that kind of stuff. But his father's a little crazy and takes him out into the jungle. Harrison Ford kind of reminds me of my father in that movie. And River Phoenix kind of reminds me of me when I was young, living in the jungles of Mexico. So I definitely recommend that movie if you've never seen it. Very good actors in that movie, all of them, and they were all pretty young. Harrison Ford was like 16 or 17 years. I'm sorry, River Phoenix was like 17 years old in this movie, and Harrison Ford was definitely had a very young face in this movie. Let's see, and checking out the chat, seeing what people are talking about. Naked and Afraid. Yes. Somebody compared what I'm doing on YouTube now to that. I haven't seen enough of that show. I don't watch television, so I miss some stuff like that, I guess. But I don't miss it that much, honestly, not watching television because there might be a handful of things that I would watch, but the rest of it I think is garbage. Sorry. Doesn't enhance my life, that's for sure. Let's see what happened here. I think you'd be fine, Priscilla. I think you could take it. Yeah, I wouldn't think about the piranhas and the mountain streams we're going to be in. There's not going to be piranha, that's for sure. Sleep with a machete. Yeah, sleep with a machete. Yeah. Oh, I'm not taking my machete. I think they will have some there if we need them, but I do know that one of our guides is is used to work for National Geographic as a cinematographer. So I definitely look forward to hanging out with that guy and maybe getting some tips and tricks from him on how to film in the jungle. That would be cool, and just to have the opportunity to do all that. Yeah, and then there's Brave Wilderness. Someone else also compared me to Brave Wilderness, which it's a pretty cool channel. He does some pretty goofy stuff sometimes, though. I'm definitely not going to intentionally let myself be bit by multiple different bugs and animals to get ratings on YouTube. I'm gonna skip on that stuff. I'll leave that up to him to get stung by exotic animals and bugs and stuff like that. The water box, what's up? How are you doing? It's good to see you in here. Thanks for popping in on a Mother's Day on Sunday. Appreciate that. Do appreciate that. I'm just kind of rambling at this point. It's been a trying weekend for anybody who just popped in. Yeah, I tried to film the hashtag FishFam news on location in the bush yesterday, and nature was not on my side. In the end, I had to wrap my camera equipment in plastic bags, which I was smart enough to come with black garbage bags in my backpack for an emergency like that. So I had to wrap all of my camera equipment in plastic very quickly and pack it up in my bag. and scurry out of there in the rain. Very as and I was very unhappy. I was very unhappy. It kind of by the end of my day yesterday, I was pretty emotionally exhausted. Um, Definitely tested my limits, but I didn't run off and go consume drugs or alcohol to heal my emotions. That's for sure. Which would have been what I would have done in the old days, and I'm glad that I'm stronger than that now. Um, but I did come home and tried to film it again, and I got hit with the next one. I didn't have my mic cord plugged in all the way to my camera. It was in there, but I didn't push it all the way in. I got snagged on the side or something. I thought it was in, but it wasn't. So I go into my footage to edit it, and that hurt my heart when I realized that I had no audio because I didn't even get the audio from the camera because the plug was in halfway. It didn't use the mic from the camera. I didn't get any audio. It was pretty much just silent, just just nothing. So that hurt my heart. At that point, I had to shut down and just go to bed. Just eat dinner with my girlfriend. I was very quiet the rest of the evening because, believe it or not, creating the news and making this content is something I look forward to doing. I enjoy doing it, and I know a lot of you look forward to getting the hashtag FishFam News on Saturday mornings, and I know a lot of you do prefer it as a filmed and edited piece of content, and that's what I prefer to do as well. And it definitely bummed me out that I couldn't do that. Let's see, trying to pull up the chat and keep it visible as well. But yeah, yeah, the water box. Yeah, I get what you're saying there. Yeah, no, it's definitely important though, if nothing else, to learn from those experiences, and it's experiences like yesterday, being out there and having nature not on my side. Those are things that we're gonna have to deal with when I'm in Peru and any of other my crazy adventures that I will be taking you guys on. I'm gonna have to deal with those kinds of situations, and Mother Nature is not always gonna be on my side, and you have to look for ways to get around that. So I did try to film it twice while I was out there, and then I stopped for a while because the wind and the lighting wasn't on my side. So I waited for the sun to pass behind some trees and over the hillside, and I was trying to wait for the wind to calm down. And the wind started to calm down. Then I set up all my gear again, and then it started to rain. That's what all that wind was around about. There was a front coming in, and I had no phone, I had no signal out there, so I couldn't even look at the radar to see what was coming. But over the hills was a huge black cloud coming. So as soon as I set up all my equipment again, this cloud came over the hillside, and luckily the wind came first again, so that I started packing up. And so luckily I got a lot of my gear wrapped in plastic before the actual rain hit me. But I had to hike out of there 2 miles in the rain. Came home soaking wet with no content. No content. It was beautiful out there, though. It was definitely beautiful. I do have to say that I did enjoy that a little bit. Let's see. Just do a voiceover. Yeah, no. See, I was emotionally just done. There's a point when you just have to. I just had to just. I literally just had to go lay down and just calm my nerves because that's there's that's my option these days. I don't partake in recreational drugs or whatever to calm the nerves. So all I could really, and I had already done enough hiking. So normally what I would do if I was irritated to get the steam off would be go on a little hike or go on a little run to burn off that energy. And that's kind of what I do these days. But I had already done enough of that yesterday, so really the only option was to just go lay down. I was exhausted already. Didn't need to do anything else physical. I just needed to go lay down, kind of stop trying for the day. I feel like I gave it 100% for about 6 hours and burned a lot of energy. So it was time to just relax, let it go, and try again the next day. And then here I am. And this is my next thing I have to give up. I know most of you content creators out there like to consume energy drinks to help crush it and edit that film through the night. I am not sponsored by them, neither nor do I want to be. But I definitely look forward to stopping the consumption of taurine-based drinks. I pronounce it how I pronounce it. Some people make fun of me how I pronounce it, but taurine. Um, but soon I will be giving up taurine, and I'll be left with caffeine. That will be about it. Caffeine and the occasional cigarette, which that's I luckily I don't buy them. I will smoke a friend's cigarette every once in a while, to be completely honest. But that's about it. Yeah, yuck. But don't worry. I know it's yuck too, so that means that down the line it will pass. It will pass, just like other things in my life. They've passed not because I went to jail and not because I was court ordered into something. I've stopped anything that I've stopped because when you have a passion and a drive inside of you to create and do things and to be artistic, there's a point when certain things you just have to shed them off because they're in your way. And I'm lucky that that's how things have happened for me. That I've stopped these things on my own because I want other things out of life more. And I'll tell you what, life is much more enjoyable without substance substances to self-medicate with substances and things. Definitely might not be easy at first, but life is much better. And it might sound corny, but things taste better, things smell better. Um, People enjoy you better too. People enjoy your company a lot better, a lot more as well. HC, have a good one. I will see you later in Big Easy stream. I will be hanging out there a little bit later. I know that it's a nice little group of people that get together in Big Easy's live stream. He'll stream for probably 8 hours. I think he starts right now. It's 3:04, so that's probably where HC is heading over to Big Easy's stream. I'm gonna go over there and pop in there, share some fish tanks there. Um, I might do so if you go over there, I might be throwing my camera around and hitting some of my fish tanks behind me, getting some close-ups of some of that. So if you're interested in getting a little tour of some of my tanks, I'll probably be doing that over there because that's a little bit more laid back. I won't be sitting in front of my microphone. I'll probably just be throwing up some of my tanks and letting people check them out. Drink Coca-Cola. No, we call that here in a lot of my friends and me here in the Caribbean, we call Coca-Cola Coca-Cola. Coca-Cola. Because it's pretty nasty stuff as far as I'm concerned. Um, I always favored Pepsi anyways because it was a little bit more watered down actually. And I grew up around a lot of Italians as well as Hispanics, and Italians tend to water it down. They actually will take Coca-Cola and they will they'll water it down 50-50 with water, and that's how a lot of people in Italy drink Coca-Cola. They definitely use ice and water. They don't drink it straight because it's too syrupy for them. Um, a lot of like I said, growing up around a lot of Italians, they definitely eat differently, and I eat differently because of my youth growing up around the Italians and Italian culture. And they eat a lot healthier. They eat in courses, as we don't here in the United States. We like to mix everything up and put it all together, but Italians will they'll eat their pasta separate. They don't even put it on the plate at the same time. It's almost sacrilegious to some of them. But you eat your pasta first, and then it's family style. Then you grab your piece of meat, put your meat on your plate. And then a lot of times I eat their salad last. But you eat these things separately so your body can absorb the nutrients from them. If you mix them all together, you won't absorb the nutrients the same way. I mean, your body will put out different enzymes for meat, and there's different enzymes for greens and for salads, and there's also different enzymes for pastas and bread and flour based products like that. So by eating them separately, your body has the opportunity to initiate different enzymes one at a time and absorb all of the nutrients from each of those food groups. So that's kind of how I tried to eat, and that's how I was taught by a lot of my Italian family members. And I grew up working with Italians since I was 15. I've been in the food industry. Um, creating Italian food, specifically bread. I love to bake bread, and I also been in the pizza business. I've been doing Napolitana Italian style pizza since I was 15. So I do true 95. I cook pizza that in 95 seconds. You spin the pizza at 45 seconds where it burns on one side. I usually when I cook pizza, I cook it at 900 850 degrees, 900 degrees, 400. My number is 420 degrees Celsius, which is double and almost double in Fahrenheit. Yankees Outdoor Adventures. It's so nice to see you in here, man. This guy, if you guys haven't checked out his channel, you should definitely check out Yankees' channel. He does a lot of stuff like I like to do in regards to getting out into the wild. He's not a fish keeper, so to speak. Uh, um, but I'm trying to introduce him to the hashtag FishFam community because you can see that we have a really awesome community going on here, very positive community. And I've also been trying to catch up with his community because there's a lot of a very strong outdoor adventure community on YouTube as well. But he definitely takes the time to go out into the wild, and a lot of times he is along really awesome waterways, rivers, and creeks and things like that. So I've definitely been captivated by his content, and he's definitely very community oriented. I can't speak as well. So I do appreciate that because being there's a strong community here, and I think it's important that we remain positive and we uplift each other, and we support the community here on this platform. And I think all of you that are in this chat that are part of the hashtag FishFam community, we all know how powerful it is and how much we've been able to support each other and the crazy things that we can do for each other. Like the support I received after the hurricanes here in the Caribbean. I received so much support, financial support, and just emotional support. And just like 54 Punchy 2 weeks ago, all of us coming together and creating a GoFundMe and creating over $500 in less than 20 minutes so that 54 Punchy can get a new computer. Like that's epic stuff. Like that is beautiful. It is beautiful, and it's I don't know that I see that anywhere else, and really any other community on YouTube on this platform. So like I've said before, we need to remember to keep being a positive example to the rest of the platforms, and it all comes back tenfold. Everything we do comes back to us, and yes, it is a beautiful thing what we got going on here. But yeah, check out Yankees Outdoor Adventures. He tries to do live streams. He's lucky to have signal in some of these spots where he goes, so he actually gets to hike out in a live stream, which I wish I could do. And I'm searching for a couple of spots that are really pristine and awesome and very wild spots with not anybody around that I have an AT&T signal. And hopefully in the future you'll be able to catch me doing like a live stream fish collecting adventure, but live. I definitely look forward to that, and it will happen. It's just not going to be in some of the cool spots like I was in 2 weeks ago. That area last weekend, that spot. Well, I was there yesterday. And it didn't really go very well for me, but yeah, like I did check for signal out there, and I unfortunately there's like one bar of edge, which is like doesn't I don't get even data through that. So I was lucky to even get text messages out from the spot that I was in. But let's see. Daryl Dimmer. Let's see. Oh, D. Have a good one down the wormhole. D. Have a good Mother's Day. I'm curious what your daughter was making in the kitchen for you, but I'm sure it was awesome. I'm going to have to come up with something as well, and I'm going to have to call some family. I got to call my sister. I have a nephew. She just had a child, so I need to give her a call and wish her happy Mother's Day as well. Priscilla and Kay, thank you so much. I do appreciate that. Thank you for your $2 super chat. That is so awesome. It's so crazy because I wish that I could actually give super chats, but for some reason on all of my devices, except for my phone, like occasionally it works sometimes, but I can't give super chats. It says that super chats are not available in my region, but it is. I do appreciate the fact that it's awesome that I can receive them. I thought that I wasn't going to be able to receive them either because of because I can't give them. A couple of times my phone has allowed me to, but half the time I get the same error message. It says I cannot receive super chats, or I cannot do super chats within my region. Um, but I would definitely be super chatting some of my good friends and content creators here on YouTube if I could. Believe me, and I wish that YouTube would answer my emails, and maybe I could figure out if I could fix that somehow, so that I can super chat you guys, especially you, Priscilla. I love the stuff you do, and I know most of you guys know Priscilla MK, but she is part of the hashtag Fish Fan community. She is a really accomplished artist and does some beautiful pieces of artwork. Um, of fish and aquatic animals. And it's beautiful artwork. And I have one piece behind me, the angelfish on the wall. That's from Priscilla. That's one of her pieces, probably one of my favorite, just because I love angelfish. It's a beautiful piece of work. And I have a whole bunch of other pieces that she sent me in a care package after the Hurricane Irma. But I have them stashed to protect them safely. But I'm looking forward to framing them and getting them up on the wall. And once I get my own studio, my own real studio and fish room of my own, my walls will be plastered with Priscilla's art. Let's see. I've definitely gone over my 1 hour mark, but I don't care. So many cool people in here. I'm gonna hang out for a while longer. Let's see what else. Dwayne, you're still in here. Very cool, man. We gotta we gotta check. We can catch up on Facebook and get our plans together. But most of you might not know that Dwayne Kitchell will be on the Peru fish collecting trip with me to Puerto Maltinado, which is up in the mountains, high elevation, um, and we will be pretty much a bus trip away from Machu Picchu. We will not be going to Machu Picchu because we are there to collect fish. Probably next year. I look forward to going back there next year for a longer period of time, maybe a month or two. I plan on staying in Peru. I'll probably be in Puerto Maltinado, and then venturing out to other countries. I have a good friend from Ecuador, so I plan on going and visiting his family in Ecuador and doing some fish collecting with him. He also has a YouTube channel, um, which is not about fish, but I'll bring that up one point in time in the future and promote that channel. But he might help me film and edit. He's pretty accomplished. He's definitely better at editing than I am. But yeah, I definitely look forward to getting a little deeper into it next year. But this trip around, we will be at higher elevations. I'm looking forward to getting as high elevation as possible. I gotta beg Dwayne and Corey to hike these hills with me. But don't feel guilty if y'all don't want to do it. It'll be fine. We're gonna see a lot of cool stuff anyways. Uh, but Dean has been mentioning one of the other gentlemen that will be on the trip, a very accomplished fish breeder. He will we will be looking for a mountain tetra, a cold water stream mountain tetra, and I not even seen pictures of this, but supposedly very beautiful, nice mix, like lots of different colors in this fish. So hopefully we'll be able to catch a couple of these and take a look at them. I'm sure Dean's going to want to bring them back to breed. I will not be bringing back fish unless Corey offers to take some fish for me and put them in his box, but I cannot afford to ship fish back. I'm spending enough money on the trip itself, and for me as well, I'm very much into promoting sustainable pet trade and wildlife conservation. So I'm not really totally like excited, or it's not a big deal for me to collect. Now, I would collect something that might be rare or on the reds list in regards to breeding it in captivity, so people don't have to go out into nature. That's part of the responsible pet trade for me. So I definitely that's the only reason why I would like collect something at this point from Peru. I'll leave that to everyone else, and I don't frown upon anybody for doing it. Everybody can do it. Do what you love. I'm not. I don't have a problem with it, but I definitely not into taking things back that I don't need or that I could buy in the pet trade already. Uh, it's just the right way to do it. And growing up in the pet trade in my youth, in Mexico, importing exotic animals such as iguanas and and exotic birds, watching my parents do it in my youth, there's definitely a sustainable way of doing it, and there's an ethical way to collect fish and to collect animals for the pet trade, and still preserve nature and not totally raping nature. There I go, demonetized for that one. Oh, I have to watch my words. I've thought about it before I said. I probably shouldn't have said that. Anyways, but yeah, but in find better adjectives. But anyways, but yeah, there's no need. There's ways to look at it, and there's a right way to do it, and there's a wrong way to do it. What's up with the blue wrench? The blue wrench. Was that a hint? Was that a hint? Oh wait, now that I think about it, let's catch some of these other. Ooh, they just end up with a big mod squad if I don't watch out here. But hey, it is what it is. There too. Why? Priscilla. There you go, Priscilla. And Brackens as well. It's good to see you in here, Brackens. Yeah, and definitely Yankees Outdoor Adventures once again. I mean, I've just found this channel. I know that well, I didn't just found him. I've been watching him for a little while now, and I catch he does his live streams every once in a while. I've been catching those live streams and stuff, and it's definitely when I started my channel, if you see my motto in my channel is adventure, knowledge, and more. And I made my first wild adventure video. Like 9 months ago when I first started my channel, and because that's really what I wanted to do. And then I came up with the wonderful, awesome, crazy idea of doing the hashtag FishFamNews to help bring the community together and to help me learn about other channels and absorb their content more easily. And that blew up. Everybody loved the hashtag FishFamNews, and I kind of got sidetracked by that for a little bit, and now I'm about 85 videos deep, and only 5 of my videos are wild adventures. And when I found Yankees Outdoor Adventures, it was like, wow, what are you doing, man? You need to get out, do what he's. That's what you want to be doing, and that's where your passion is. You need to be doing what he's doing. So I have to say that Yankee was definitely an inspiration for me to make sure that I'm doing what I love on my channel, not just doing what you guys want to see completely. But this channel for me is my release. It's a passion for me. It's my opportunity to release my passions and create art as content about what I love and what I enjoy doing. So that is that's where it's at. But I do want to say thank you all for showing up today. Everybody for coming into the chat, hanging out, chatting, supporting me. The super chats are amazing. I appreciate them. And all my Patreons as well. I went through the list of my Patreons just a moment ago. I'm up to 23 Patreons, and I will be putting out a piece of content this week for you guys specifically. But besides that, um, I just appreciate this. I appreciate this community, and I think we all know. Oh, what was that? I'm sorry. I just saw a link that you posted, Dwayne. I was trying to figure out what is that. What is that about? A website. I'm gonna have to go check out this website. But yeah, Dwayne Kitchell just posted something. Um, yeah. But I'm looking for better boots now. In regards to preparing for Peru, I've been going out in a nice pair of boots, but they're leather boots, and when they get hit with water, they get super heavy, and basically it's been stretching them out too. I noticed they have like no support as of the last couple of weeks of me hiking around in these boots. They're not gonna cut it. So I'm in search for some really nice boots. That's where I need to get my sponsor. I need a boot company to sponsor me. Some outdoor gear companies to sponsor me and my equipment. But I need a nice pair of boots, full size boots that are light, something like some kind of a military thing. I don't know, but really light that can drain water and dry out reasonably fast. Um, that is for sure. But yeah, Dwayne. I mean, Michael Barber keeps talking about rubber boots. Now, if you watch in their videos, they pretty much put just like rubber rain boots on. I'm sure it's pretty muddy and stuff, but those aren't any more support either. I mean, I'm gonna have to wear something else. You're gonna slip those boots on over your other boots. I'm thinking. Um, but yeah, he's got a collection of rubber boots in all different basic sizes. And I guess in the village we could purchase some boots if we need to, like rubber rain boots, like mud boots. Like I don't know what you want to call them, but like mud boots. But I don't. I want something with more support. I want some actual boots of my own with some real support. And if it's really like really nasty and muddy in some of these streams, I'll slip a pair of those on over my boots if I can, to maybe not trash my boots. But um, the key for me is good support. From my experience in the last couple of weeks, getting out in the wild in some of these really wetter spots that I've been finding recently, um, once you're wet and then you're hiking and you're jumping across rocks and stuff, that boot needs to keep. For me, I want a boot that has support and is snug and comfortable on my foot after it gets wet, because once they get, I need that support. I don't have very good feet anyways. I trashed them growing up in the jungles like Mowgli as a kid. I have very bad feet, and if my boot is not comfortable, it will hurt my feet. I will be in pain by the end of the day. So um, I'm kind of like money is not an issue at this point. I would spend hundreds of dollars on a quality pair of boots that is going to support my feet and not make my feet hurt and dry out quickly. So out of all the things, that's one thing that, yeah, Crocs sneakers. Yeah, Dwayne's, yeah, and he mentioned that as well, Crocs. And he also mentioned, when I was talking about keeping your feet dry, because we're going to be getting wet. We're going to have like 6 days in a row collecting fish and in creeks and rivers getting wet. And I'm not going to be worried about powdering my feet before I go out because I'm going to be wet. That's going to be a mess. But from my experience living here in the Caribbean, especially after the hurricanes, we endured a lot of rain and a lot of water for days and weeks and weeks after the storm, which made it hard to clean up after the hurricanes. But um, the key was, as soon as you can get your boots off and get those wet socks off and get some powder on your feet and leave your feet out in the open to dry out, was like the best thing you could do, because day after day getting wet like that, Michael Barber said it's not a problem, but I don't know about that. Everybody's different. Everybody's got different feet and whatnot, but I know it's probably a nasty subject, but definitely keeping them dry. And he mentioned Crocs, right? So that's what Michael Barber does. As soon as they come back to camp, and he gets the boots off, powders up his feet, and puts some Crocs on so that his feet can dry out. And I think if you keep a nice balance of that, you're not going to end up with any kind of like any problems over athlete's foot and blisters and things on your feet over the 6 or 7 days of collecting that we'll be doing. But definitely. Priscilla, thank you for the $5 super chat. Yeah, bug spray. I mentioned this before if you weren't in the chat earlier. I don't condone DEET. I don't like to use that. It's pretty nasty. Living here in the Caribbean, I see all the tourists use it, and I've experienced using it many, many years of the last 19 years living here in the tropics. And I don't like it. I don't like the feeling of it on my skin. Even once you spray it on, there's this warm, warm feeling as it absorbs into your skin and into your bloodstream. And I've actually had it make me feel achy and weak and even sick to my stomach I don't know, maybe I'm just more sensitive, but it's pretty nasty stuff as far as I'm concerned. And I do not use it. What I choose to use is essential oil-based bug repellents, which work well, things with like citronella oil and other essential oils from different plants. And another really big one, which I mentioned before, which some people might not know of or know about the history of it, Skin So Soft. If you watch any old Vietnam movies and you'll see them out in Vietnam trekking through the jungle, you'll see on their helmet they got a little green bottle on one of the on the rubber on the band on their helmet. They always got this little green army drab green bottle. That's Skin So Soft. Skin So Soft was originally developed by the United States military as a bug repellent. And then later, it was bought by Avon, and they created it into an oil, just as like a body lotion. They really liked the smell of it, and they bought it from the government. But it was originally a government issue bug repellent, Skin So Soft. So I have big bottles of that, and I'm going to be bringing Skin So Soft, and I will be using that as a bug repellent in Peru instead of any kind of DEET-based bug repellent, because I don't approve of that on my body. I don't want it in my bloodstream. I've never enjoyed it at all. Yeah, lemongrass oil is another one that really does work, and that's funny too because a lot of the different cultures in South America. I have some friends from Ecuador and from Peru, and they drink a lot of lemongrass tea. We do here in the Caribbean. We call it bush tea, the West Indian bush tea, and it's lemongrass tea. And a lot of people in primitive cultures and places of the world, they consume the lemongrass tea for parasites in their stomach. They consume it and drink it to help balance out the parasites in their intestines because it'll kill it will kill parasites. The citrus oil that's in lemongrass will kill parasites in your intestines. Um, I don't know what my dog's doing back there, but he's tripping. I don't know. I know there's a bug. There might be a bug or maybe even a cockroach or something that's hanging around my fish tank back there. But he's run back there a few times. There's some bug that's hanging out there. I don't think it's the fish in the tank that he's tripping on right now. What's up, Jasper? What's going on? Yeah, that's my half chow, half pit bull. He looks like he's black log. I'm sorry, black lab, but he's actually half chow, half pit bull. Let's see. Oh, there's those frequency devices. Yeah, Fish Tropic. Yeah, I've tried those as well, and they don't. I don't think they work. I never felt like they've worked. I've seen people using little keychain things and stuff. I don't know. You're in nature. You can't really fight nature as far as I'm concerned. I mean, some essential oils will work, but I think the best way to handle bugs is to wear long pants and to wear long sleeve shirts with a collar. You can even I have scarves, military scarves and whatnot. I might even wrap something like that around, and I even have a hoodie that just goes over your head. If they're like the flies, like somewhere like Australia, places where like the bugs are just insane, the mosquitoes are just insane. I have a piece that I can just put over my head and tighten up around my neck, and it'll keep the mosquitoes and the bugs right off of my. What are you doing? It'll keep the mosquitoes off my face as well, and off the back of my neck. Definitely. Let's see, where are we at? Sound wave warfare, right? Greg Jones, what's up, man? Yes, call your mom. I would say call my mom, but that's another sad subject. But my mother passed away about 10 years ago from hepatitis C. Um, and yeah, I left this island and I got there. I had about 9 hours before she passed away. But yeah, I would call my mom. I would calling my sister, and I'll be calling my father on this Mother's Day. I have a little niece. I'm sorry, a little nephew. So I will be calling my sister and wishing her Happy Mother's Day, and giving my father a call as well in place of my mother. But yes, definitely take the time today to go out there and pay respects to your mothers, whether they're fish moms, cat or dog moms as well. They all do their part and they deserve their respect. Yeah, I'll definitely be bringing some. I'll bring some skin so soft there for you, Dwayne. I know it's we're traveling, so when it comes on the plane, so I'm not gonna be able to bring a big bottle of it. I guess if it's packed in my bag, I'll bring a big bottle and maybe some little plastic travel bottles, and I'll break it up and give it out to some of you guys if some people want to use the skin so soft, because I do know it works definitely. Oh right, and we do have Susan from SLC Aquatics. We have the hashtag FishFair Mom. We have to go pay our respects to her as well. But Greg Jones, I definitely want to say hello to you, and I want to say I really do enjoy your content. That I know that you've got a lot going on. Um, the My Aquarium box is something that I get every month, and if I can find it, I know that I probably can't find it now because I'm looking for it. It's not going to be right in front of me. But I had I got this in the mail in my aquarium box. You can thank Mike for that. But he obviously wants his Q&A. He wants his interview. But this was really sweet to get this in my aquarium box, and I think it was a little heavier than usual as well. But oh my now my camera's messing up with autofocus. I didn't know my autofocus was on. Focus on my face. Anyways, anyways, let's see. But yeah, what I was getting at, Greg, is I really do enjoy your motivational content. I think it's really important for us to be putting out that kind of content as well. I really enjoy making the content that I do, or the hashtag FishFamNews or my Wild and Fish Adventures. But more than I do make that kind of content, I really want to be putting out some content in regards to motivation and personal growth, because that is a big part of YouTube for me. Has been the personal growth for me. One thing becoming sober, another thing just learning. I'm learning something every day through creating content on YouTube, and making new friends every day on YouTube, and, and I'm following my dreams, and I'm following my passions, and I'm following my heart and what I believe in and what I love. And to me, that is the key to happiness. Is um, I mean, I feel like a lot of people aren't teaching their children to soul search and to be to find out and dig deep to find out what their passions are. A lot of people just think, oh, I'm gonna go be a doctor because my mom and dad tell me that that pays a lot of money, and they would my parents are gonna like me if I'm a doctor. They're gonna be proud of me. Or I think it's not all about that. You got to do what you love. Your parents might be proud of it. They might not be appreciate what you're doing, but you need to do what what you love. Oh, I want my camera to focus on me. There we go. There we go. That's a little bit better. Okay. But yeah, you got to be doing what you love. You have to take the time to dig deep, find out what it is that what your passions are, and then find a way to be financially stable, or uh, with that. Like, and I really do enjoy some of the videos that Greg has made, and the recently, in regards to personal growth, and and finding and being happy, and finding happiness, and the key to happiness. And this YouTube channel for me, without getting too emotional or too deep, this YouTube channel for me is that it is the opportunity to live my dreams, live my passions, and maybe down the line in the future actually be financially stable, and self-sufficient from that. Of course, I think for a lot of us that is the dream, but it's just I don't know. That's what it's all about. I think to some people just I miss that completely. They miss they think that it doesn't. That I think a lot of people think that that they're supposed to go through life in a little bit of pain, and that they're necessarily not going to do what they love for a living, but they just have to keep on the grind and just keep doing it because that's what mom and dad said to do. And I don't believe in that. I don't believe in that. Um, I kind of believe there's a book out there, the Rich Dad Poor Dad, and one of the things he says in there is, um, you know, it's the idea of not taking a paycheck but making money. Um, and I think that honestly, if you start with your passions and then you work from there, then you'll be doing what you love for a living. And I think that's what you're doing, Greg. You're getting to do what you love. You have all your fish tanks. You spend a lot of money on water with your awesome water change system, and you are feeding all of our passion, and feeding the hobby with the My Aquarium box, which I think is awesome. If you guys don't know about the My Aquarium box, which I'm sure all of you do, it's a monthly subscription box where you pay into it. I think it's about like $25 a month. I think I spend on that a month, and it's a nice little box of assorted things that you don't know what's in it for sure. It's an awesome surprise every month, like Christmas every month, and there's always something cool in that box. And I do love that. And as long as I have the money to spend on it, I'll be getting that every month. As long as I have fish tanks and to need things for, to need stuff for. But I do appreciate your positive content and that motivational stuff that you put out. And yeah, I put out more of it, man. I love it, and we all need that. We need that motivation, and some people just are totally in the dark, and without us helping and trying to help them see the light, that there is a way to follow your passions and to follow your dreams and follow your heart and still be successful in life. Some people are just not gonna get it, but I don't know. It's a beautiful thing, and I thank you guys once again for all of your support, because I might not continue to do it if I didn't have the support from you guys. Let's see, and that's the thing. Yeah, are you happy? Right? That is the real question. Um, and I don't think it's a selfish thing. Some people that I know take it as if I'm being selfish. But you know what? Maybe it's selfish, but I mean to a certain extent, but Yeah, yeah, have to. What's up, Angel? I'm glad you're still here. I'm glad you're still here, man. Um, yeah, but you got to do it, or you're gonna be miserable. Like I'm not trying to be selfish about what I do, but I definitely put a lot of time into this. My girlfriend might not like it, but it keeps me sober and it keeps me happy, and it gives me an opportunity to get my passions out and to create a little bit of art and in as video content. Um, and it feeds my passions. It feeds who I am. I don't know. I couldn't go backwards now. I'm kind of addicted to it a little bit, but I try to tell her, like, I could be gaming or I could be on drugs or something else. This is not that bad. Me live streaming and hanging out with a real community of people and staying up late. I'm staying up late editing videos. I'm not staying up late at the bar. So it is a good thing. It is a beautiful thing. Let's see. Multi-tank ejection. Chris, you made it. You're not sleeping. You made it. See, he's usually out by now. He gets up so early to do his live stream on Sunday mornings, which if you guys don't know about multi-tank addiction, he's got his a live stream he does on Saturday mornings for 2 hours, and then he does a live stream on Sunday for 1 hour. And usually, unless things are usually he has a quiz that he does, which is really fun because you always get to learn something. It's all quizzes about fish and fish keeping. So those are fun because a little bit of a game get to go on there with, and you get to learn something and kind of keep a tally to see what you did, see how good you did. But I do enjoy his live streams and his quizzes. Uh, it's good stuff, and yeah, I learned something from his streams because of that. And he does a species spotlight usually as well, but I do like his segments and the way he sets up his live streams, and he's very consistent. Every Saturday and every Sunday. Let's see. Trying to keep up, read this chat. I don't want to ignore any questions that might be there. But I've definitely gone over now. 39 minutes over my 1 hour because an hour seems reasonable, but sometimes you don't want to stop, right? It's just nice to hang out and share and get to see your people. And Angel Muniz, as most of you don't know, he does some live streaming every once in a while, and he's usually found in Big Easy's chat. Um, and I'm trying to figure out where he is in the United States. I forget, but he gets out sometimes and does a little walk. Like today, he did a little walk to the park and a little walk along. He's got a little park and a little river that he walks along, and I tell him to do that more often because it's just really nice to be outside, just like what Yankees Outdoors Adventures does. It's nice. I love live streams where I'm hearing birds in the background and I can hear the water running, and trickling through the creek and stuff. Like it's just music. It's just music to my ears. It's a nice thing because and I'm sure there's people out there that just aren't even close to anything like that. There's in the middle of a city, and for them, it's really nice, a nice change. Let's see. Fish collecting trips on my island? Not really, Greg, because there's really not enough species. Yeah, we have. I'm trying to find new ones and maybe even get to name them because according to the university here, which I've caught up with some people in etymology here and stuff, and the university, I've worked with the university in the past in regards to horticulture. I have a very strong knowledge of tropical plants and trees from that experience working with the university, cataloging, cataloging lots of trees in the wild, tagging them, identifying them, and plotting them for the government on GPS with GPS units and stuff like that, making 3D models. I've done that kind of stuff with the university. But in regards to fish here, we only have three freshwater fish that is recorded with the university. Fish, we have the mountain mullet, the Monticola. We have the mountain mullet. We have a goby, and we have wild guppies, which I've found all of those, and I know where I can go to find those in mass quantities, honestly. But that's about it. And then we have five different species of shrimp, of microbrachiums and different kinds of shrimp. So we have one crayfish that can get huge. The main claws on the shrimp or on the crayfish can get 12 inches long. Just the claws, the big blue claws when they're fully mature. Really scary looking actually when you find one out in the wild. They look pretty aggressive, and they are actually pretty aggressive. If you watch my last video, the crayfish were attacking my GoPro because they did not want it in their pool of water. They're very, very protective of their pool of water, and they're trying to eat my GoPro. I had to mute the audio when in post production because all you could hear was the crayfish like clacking and hitting my GoPro. But I wish there were more things like that. I've actually just got some paperwork. I've been trying to make sure that I do everything legal so I don't get any kind of $10,000 fines, which I've been told is the fine for collecting animals anywhere within the national park. So I try to control myself and make sure that I'm not within national park borders when I do any of my collecting or observations or netting of fish. Um, but I went and I finally found this form, which is a very, very long, drawn out form for collecting fish. And I was really excited when I first got the form because it had a lot of detail in here in regards to how you're collecting them. They want to know everything about what you're doing. And then I started looking at the list of species down here, this huge list of species. None of it's freshwater. This is basically just to support the fishing, the saltwater, blue water, deep sea fishing community, and for catching and fishing, fishing with hooks. Um, so it's kind of unfortunate because it doesn't really support what I'm doing, and it doesn't help me any at all when it comes to collecting freshwater fish. They really don't think about that. I guess most of what they're worried about is people out in the ocean. But it was cool because it's got a whole list here of all the different saltwater fish that we have available. So I was definitely catching up on that and learning a little bit about saltwater fish and what kinds of fish people would catch to eat. But I will definitely be having some meetings with the university and some meetings with the national park here, the U.S. Virgin Island National Park, just to make sure that I'm legal with what I'm doing. And also for filming permits. Like if I'm in the national park and I'm filming, I actually have to have a filming permit, or I can get a ticket for that as well, because my content is monetized, and that makes it as though it's not like I'm a tourist just taking a picture. So I have to make sure that I'm following all the laws. Let's see here. I was just looking to catch up on the chat here. But yeah, no, I'm actually looking for, when you talk about Greg Jones, you were talking, if he's still in here, you were talking about doing some, about collecting trips and stuff. I'm looking forward. I'm gonna do this again because I just want to focus on me. Ah, if I kind of get close and get far away, it'll reset it and it'll focus. Okay, now I look goofy. Never mind. It is what it is. In regards to collecting fish, I think more of that kind of stuff is gonna happen with me in Peru. I've been talking pretty deep with Go Wild Peru and some other expedition groups in South America, and I'm going to be doing some trips down there, more trips in the future down there with other groups as well, and trying to help them create some commercials and whatnot, to get some stuff out there on YouTube, some content to help advertise them, because there is a lot of other expedition groups down there in South America doing stuff. So I just plan on spending more time in other places. I'm gonna wear it out here. I'm gonna look and find everything I can and go around to some really cool spots and use create what content I can here in the Virgin Islands and other islands, other surrounding islands. But at a point, I'm gonna get pretty bored and I'm gonna want some new content. And Peru will be the first step. I look forward to going and seeing Fish Keeping Jamaica in Jamaica and checking out his little fish farm, kind of little fish breeding programs that he has going on his property. And I look forward to going out in the wild with him and catching some cichlids, some Jack Dempseys, and stuff like that he has out in the wild there, available in the rivers. There's lots of rivers in Jamaica, lots of waterways. We will have to watch out for crocodiles though, because there is definitely some dangerous animals there in Jamaica that we don't have here in the Virgin Islands. But I think I'm just going to go another 10 to 12 minutes here and just cut it off at 4 o'clock because I got to go get some stuff done around here, do some water changes on some tanks, And then I gotta catch up with Big Easy stream and catch up with all my friends over there in that stream as well. Let's see. Now the U.S. Virgin Islands is a territory of the United States, as is Puerto Rico. So yeah, we are just a territory. So we do have our own government. We have a governor, and that governor is basically like our president in a way. And we do have senators. We have over the 3 U.S. Virgin Islands here. We have about I think it's 5 or 6 senators and one senator at large that goes to Washington to represent us. But we are just a territory. We are not classified as a state. We are not classified, as anything like that. We are not part of the 50 states, same as Puerto Rico. So we do pay separate taxes, and we don't pay federal taxes here, but we do pay into our local government's taxes and stuff like that. And we do not have up until just a little bit ago, we didn't have any taxes at all on product, like sales taxes, but they've just changed that. Now we have a sin tax because our government is basically going bankrupt. So they're scraping to do whatever they can to keep the government afloat. So they started a sin tax on alcohol and cigarettes. So the price of cigarettes and the price of alcohol went up, which doesn't bother me because I don't consume it, so I don't have to worry about that. But yeah, that's their way of trying to save the government here, which is pretty much backwards. It's pretty much a faux government. There's a lot of people making a lot of money. It would be the dream thing for most West Indians is to get a government job because they're making like $70,000 a year and they don't do anything. That's where all the money goes. We do not vote for the United States. We cannot vote if you're just like a citizen here, born and raised here. But I am born in the United States, so um, it's kind of seen as kind of dual citizenship. So I can do absentee ballot, and I can vote for president and vote for offices in the United States. But I would have to do an absentee ballot from like I would probably do it from my father's address where I lived last in the United States. But I honestly don't vote for any of the offices in the United States like that at this point, just because I've been down here for so long. But I do vote locally for the local governments here. Yeah, but no, people do not. We do not vote for the United States. I mean, most people here, unless they have, because we are not part of the 50 states, so um, people here don't vote for president of the United States. Here, you would have to send in an absentee ballot to the United States. You'd have to go through a little bit different things. But we are United States citizens. We do abide by all the laws of the United States of America. Um, but it is pretty goofy, and the government here is pretty much a faux government, and they really do not handle things as they should. Just like in Puerto Rico, it's pretty rough in Puerto Rico as well. They're actually going through a lot more trouble than we are in regards to their power. Still half after these two hurricanes, still half of Puerto Rico does not have power, and they haven't had power, and the other half they lose power from 2 to 3 days at a time. They have blackouts and they don't have any power. So most people there rely on propane to cook with, and they rely on candles to see after dark. And it's just they've gone back to like a third world country right now. Half of Puerto Rico, especially up in the mountains, they have not been able to rebuild the power, uh, the grid, because their grid is worse than ours. It was completely old-fashioned grid and outdated and had not been maintained properly. So after the storm, they were really in a bad and they still are now, and they've it's going to be a long time. It's going to be years before things are back to normal for Puerto Rico, which is it's really sad. It's really sad. You only blame the governments for a lack of management and maintenance and overseeing things. Like here, we don't even have a city planner, so like there's no structure in regards to that. They're not really thinking about the important stuff half the time. And then when I first moved here, I wondered why it was always like so beat up around the edges here. And I got here 2 years after Maryland, so Now after Irma, I realized why it looked like crap, or like it looked so bad when I got here, and why it was so rough around the edges. And it just they just basically you only clean up so much. You know, the feds will come in and help clean up after a hurricane, and then it's left up to us. And honestly, what they leave up to us just pretty much sits and doesn't get cleaned up. So there's pretty much beat up here. Pretty, walk down the street and things are still, even some of the schools. We have our elementary school. It still has the roof torn off of it, and nothing has been done to it because there's asbestos in that school, and they're waiting for government funding. So it's basically just boarded up, and the roof is ripped off, and there is no public elementary school anymore. They're being forced to go into the high school, and they're teaching them. They're using space in the high school for the elementary school. It'll be years before that's fixed because you know, it needs to be taken care of by our local government. And the fact that there's asbestos in the building, everybody's scared to go inside, and it's going to take a hazmat crew to go in and do the demo and to help with the stripping of all the asbestos. It's literally like right down the street from my house, and it's a real eyesore for the community right now. But it's rough. It's the way it is. Let's see. I was trying to check up with the chat, but I got about 7 more minutes in here, and just kind of want to wrap it up and say thank you guys so much again for hanging out in my chat and listening to me ramble. I do appreciate it. Do appreciate it. Uh, and I want to say I do thank all of my Patreons that I have. It means the world to me. Your support. I have a lot of people here in the chat are Patreons of my content and of my channel. Um, and it just means the world to me. It definitely helps things go. Right now, I haven't collected really any of the money. I've been holding on to it. All of my AdSense from Google and all of my money from Patreon, I'm letting sit and collect, and I will be utilizing all that for my trip as spending money, which is all going to be adventure stuff. We're going to be out, and I won't be spending very much money, but um, I will be utilizing those funds for those kinds of trips. That's where I plan on it going because that's what people want to see. I'm not going to be wasting it on anything else. It won't be used for anything personal. It'll definitely all specifically be going back into my YouTube channel and back into my content. The worst case scenario is I might use some money to buy a piece of production equipment, but I pretty much have everything I need right now until I move up to another camera. Hopefully, I won't kill my camera in Peru. That's my fear is that I'm going to drop it in the water. I'm going to get it wet or something like that. In regards to that, there was actually something really cool that I realized from Michael Barber was talking about our camera equipment and how it is going to be really cold in some of the higher elevations where we go, and he was talking about how we will not be heating the vehicle on the way up into the mountains when we go to some of these spots, because if we do that, we'll be warming up all our camera equipment, and then when we get out of the vehicle, we'll be in a colder climate, and all our camera equipment will fog up, which is really thoughtful. He's been through this before, so he obviously has experience and understands that. But that was really interesting. I was like, oh yeah, I'm glad that we're going with people that get this and understand so that definitely will help. So we'll be having to drive up in the cold, no heater in the car. We'll be able to use the heater on the way back, but it's a good idea so we don't mess up our camera equipment and fog everything up, so we can get our shots when we jump out of the car. Oh, is that what he did? I haven't watched any of that, but I guess yeah. But Dustin destroy a camera. I know he's been to. I think Dustin's actually been on a trip with Go Wild Peru. Dustin's fish tanks. Um, when I type in my favorite keywords, which is wild fish keeping adventures, the only thing else that I see besides my content is some of Dustin's fish collecting adventures, when he went to Peru. Thank you, Chris. I appreciate that. And thank you guys all. Thank you so much. I want to say again, happy Mother's Day out there to all of the mothers out there. And if you're not a mother, you need to call your mother or pay some respects to your mother or other mothers that you know around you, I will definitely be calling my sister, and I will call my dad in place of my mother, which is no longer with us. And besides that, I'm gonna cook a nice dinner for my girlfriend, which reminded me this morning as she walked out the door to go to work that she is a dog mom. So whatever, I will support that, and I will make her a Mother's Day dinner, a dog mom dinner, something like that. Uh, But thank you all again. Thank you all so much for coming in here and hanging out in my chat. Thank you to all of you that are my Patreons and support me that way. Thank you for all of the super chats which I received today. I do appreciate that, and just all of your support along the way, all your comments and liking my content and sharing my content. Remember, sharing the content. What I realized is probably one of the best ways to help us grow each other's channels is taking a moment if there's something really awesome that one of us is making. Take the time to share it out there in social media for other people that may not be supporters of the channel for to create new subscribers and new viewers. So I do appreciate all of you that share my content. Um, and another quick tip there, which I've noticed recently, is the bell notifications, the bell icon. They've changed the settings on that a little bit, and if you want to make sure that you get the notifications for my live streams and get the notifications of my content when it is posted, make sure that when you click on that you do click on the bell icon, and that when you click on that bell icon that you I think it's you right click on it, and you can see there'll be three settings. One to receive no no notifications. Another one, you can receive some notifications, and then there's an option to receive all notifications. So if you really want to get someone's content and notifications of it, make sure that you click on all notifications when you click on the bell icon. And right before I get out of here, he's just showing up just now. You have you were here a little bit earlier, but Fish Keeping Jamaica is in there in the chat again. If you haven't checked out his channel, check out Fish Keeping Jamaica. Um, He's a friend of mine. He's on an island not too far away, but he's in the Caribbean, but he's kind of far away. He's lucky to live on a beautiful island with lots of rivers and streams and estuaries, and he's gets the opportunity to go out in the wild and catch a lot more tropical fish like Jack Dempsey's and things like that I can't find. So look forward to me going to Jamaica eventually and hanging out with him. We're gonna go get dirty and get wet in and get wild in the waterways and go find some fish ourselves. I definitely look forward to that adventure with him. But he is a teacher and he creates some really educational content. He's very well spoken, and he delivers the knowledge very well, and I do appreciate it. I did have you. I don't know if you saw, but you were in the news today, and I mentioned your video in regards to your video about um, the functionality of fish's gills, and how he went over the whole anatomy of a fish's gills, and it described how all of the different parts of the gills work and how they work to absorb oxygen and release carbon dioxide, which was a really informative video, and a lot of his content is very informative. So definitely check out Fish Keeping Jamaica's channel if you have not. I'm gonna make you a moderator right now, and yeah, subscribe to his content. He's got good stuff, and he's definitely breeding a lot of different fish. He's got a lot of experience breeding and spawning different fishes. But we have hit the four o'clock mark, my 2 hour mark now. I guess I'm making my my live streams 2 hours now. But once again, thank you guys so much. I appreciate all of your support, all of your comments, sharing, liking my content. It means the world to me. It keeps me going. It keeps me making content for you guys. Thank you guys so much. And I just want to say, remember, keep your tanks clean, your fish fed, and have fun.